Today I'm sharing 3 super easy dump and go casseroles that are perfect for those busy nights when you just want to toss everything in a casserole, pop it in an oven, and let dinner take care of itself. These recipes are dairy and meat-free, full of veggies and plant-based protein, and they're delicious. So let's grab yourself a casserole dish. It doesn't have to be fancy, and let's get cooking. For our first recipe today, we're making a quick and easy, no-boil pasta casserole. Okay, we first start by preheating our oven to 400 degrees. This recipe could not be easier. Seriously, all you do is open up your box of pasta and put it in the casserole dish. Then you open up your jar of marinara sauce, add that in. Then you'll fill up your pasta jar with some water or veggie broth. I just like the little extra flavor that veggie broth brings. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill this up with water and add just 2 teaspoons of veggie bouillon. Then I'm gonna put the lid back on and mix it up this way. Plus it gets all of the extra marinara sauce. And we add it in. And we'll mix that up. And as you may already know, I love adding crumbled tofu to pasta because it looks like cheese. It looks like cheese. It adds more protein. It helps my kids feel more satiated. And so you can choose just half a block or you can do both blocks. And so I'll just crumble this as small as I can so it looks like cheese. It looks like a ricotta cheese. So we're gonna keep this as a top layer. And now I'm gonna sprinkle in the seasonings here so that it kind of keeps the moisture on the bottom. Okay, so I'm not even going to measure my spices, but I'm just gonna sprinkle over some salt, oregano, and this is going to be about a teaspoon of everything. Garlic powder and onion powder. This will give the tofu a little more flavor. And last but not least, to make it kind of taste like cheese, we need some nutritional yeast. This is going to be closer to 2 to 3 tablespoons. Again, just a nice even layer across. Beautiful. Let's put it in the oven. Look how that was so easy. Don't you think? Just so easy, so fast, and it's going to be yummy. My kids will love it. And now I'll use some aluminum foil. We'll mix in spinach after it's cooked mostly all the way through. All right, it has been about 40 minutes. Okay, now it's time to fold in the spinach. Woo! First, this looks so good. It smells so good. Yeah, this is awesome. Super easy. Okay, let's fold in that spinach. And I'm also gonna take in some basil and pull some of that in there too. I love basil, it's so yummy. All right, let's mix it all in there. Okay, now that the spinach is all wilted, you're welcome to eat it from here. If you're not wanting it to be pretty, you can go ahead and eat it. But for that extra little step, just to make it look pretty, I'm gonna add in some breadcrumbs. So on top, and we're just gonna put this back into the oven until they are brown. I'll also add some Italian seasoning just to bring a little more flavor to the breadcrumbs. Brown this up, just 5 more minutes. All right, here it is. Super easy, super yummy. Let's taste it. This was so easy. I do like the breadcrumbs. I feel like it adds an extra element, so it's not just like pasta you'd make on your stove. And I like that it's full of protein with the tofu, so this is filling, and this will feed my whole family instead of having to make just 2 pasta dishes. And of course, I love basil. This is simple. It won't win any fancy awards, but it's good and it's an easy way to get dinner on the table. Hey, real quick, have you grabbed my free 1-week meal guide yet? If you haven't, you're missing out because it is a delicious guide full of whole food plant-based recipes for 1 full week. I even include a shopping list, so all you have to do is take the guide to the grocery store and your whole week is planned for you. I love these recipes and I know you will love it too, and that's why I want to give it to you as a free gift. So make sure to click on the link below so I can email it straight to your inbox. For the second recipe today, we're making Mexican lasagna. I made this last night for my family and it was a huge hit. First, preheat the oven to 375. For the Mexican lasagna, we'll start by sauteing a red onion. Let's turn up my heat and then put a red onion in here with some water and saute. And we'll do this just until it becomes a little more translucent. Now that the onion is done, we will next add in TVP. Now TVP is completely optional. It's textured vegetable protein. I'm gonna add a cup, but next I'm gonna flavor it with a tablespoon of taco seasoning. And then we need to rehydrate the TVP with a cup of water. So we just added a cup of water to rehydrate the TVP, and I'm gonna turn down the heat. Next, we'll add in a can of rinsed and drained black beans, and then a can of diced tomatoes. This one also comes with green chilies, and so you can choose that kind of diced tomatoes if you have that option. Or do a separate can of green chilies. Then we'll add in a cup of frozen corn. All right, we'll mix everything together. Now, I wanted the first tablespoon of taco seasoning to be absorbed by the TVP, and the second tablespoon of taco seasoning just give more flavor to the rest of the food, so that the corn and the black beans and the tomatoes have a little taco seasoning flavor too. We'll mix that together till everything is warmed through, and then we'll put our casserole together. We want the liquid to be absorbed, so you want to cook it high enough until the liquid gets absorbed. What I love about TVP is I used to cook a lot with ground turkey, and it is the perfect replacement in all of those previous ground turkey recipes, like this one. Now that the mixture is done, let's go ahead and put the casserole together. We need tortillas. Now you can choose to layer the tortillas however you want. It can be as simple as just adding 3 and going from there. However, if you want to get particular, you can cut your tortillas in half so we can cover as much as possible. And then every square inch is covered, and that's the first layer. Now let's put in our fillings. We'll first add a layer of refried beans, and these are the canned vegetarian versions because otherwise they may come with lard, so make sure you buy the vegetarian, and they're so good. So we'll add a layer here, and it's about half of the mixture, just 2 layers, so this will be half of the can of refried beans. All right, and then next we will add half of this mixture as our second layer here. All right, now for our second layer. So we will just repeat the process. Again, you can do however you want. I'm gonna cut mine in half. Next, we'll add in the beans.
Again.
We'll finish off our can of beans here. All right, last layer.
Last layer, yay!
Okay, we finish it off with one final layer, and then we top it off with your favorite salsa, as much or as little as you want. I'm finishing this up, so usually it's about a cup or a cup and a half. And you do not have to add vegan cheese. This is just for looks, but I'm going to go ahead and add it so it looks real good. And I like this version because it's made with olive oil instead of coconut oil, so it's less in saturated fat. And it literally is just for the top level for looks. Not necessary, but it makes it a little bit more official. Plus, this one was on sale. All right, and then let's go ahead and cook this in the oven. 375 for about 10 to 15 minutes just for the cheese to melt. All right, and it is done. You can always put it on broil to save yourself some time. We just want to melt that cheese. Look how good that looks. And then make sure to garnish with cilantro. All right, let's go ahead and taste it. Yeah, you guys can try some. This is so good. This is so good. You can add extra salsa. There you go.
That's not a word.
Cheese. And for the last recipe today, I'm making a chickpea curry dump and go casserole. It's a very similar recipe to my dump and go crock pot chickpea curry, but I want to show you how easy it is to tweak it for the casserole dish. For the chickpea curry dump and go casserole, you'll preheat the oven to 375. Now this casserole is truly dump and go. We're doing this to save time. If you prefer to saute the onions or the garlic beforehand, you're more than welcome to. But I want to show you how easy it can be to just dump it all in one pan and put it in the oven, saving time for those busy days. All right, so we'll add 1 diced yellow onion. Next is 5 cloves of garlic, 3, 4, and 5. Of course, you can use fresh garlic. I know. I'm just trying to save time with the pre-minced stuff. Next is 1 inch of fresh ginger. So this I am using fresh, and I put it in my freezer so it's really easy to grate it. Next is 1 teaspoon dried thyme. If you have fresh thyme, you can use kind of 4 little twigs of fresh thyme. Thyme sprigs, not twigs, sprigs, or just the dried stuff. I'm gonna mix this all together. Next, you'll add 1 can of diced tomatoes. And the next ingredient is tomato paste, but I just looked in my pantry and I happened to be out of it, which rarely happens, but you can actually sub 1 tablespoon of tomato paste with 3 tablespoons of just a pasta sauce or a tomato sauce. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Next is 2 tablespoons of curry powder. This is where the curry comes in. And then 1 tablespoon of salt. Next is a half a teaspoon of allspice, a half a teaspoon of ginger. Yes, we're adding more ginger. This is dried ginger or ground ginger. And a half a teaspoon of garam masala. And then as many red pepper flakes as you prefer. I'm just gonna do a tiny, tiny little pinch. And then we'll add a can of coconut milk. You are more than welcome to use unsweetened soy milk instead if you want the lighter option. So you can do a can of full fat coconut milk. You can do just the same amount, which is about 2.5 cups of soy milk or even any type of plant milk. Next, we add 1 cup of veggie broth and 2 cans of chickpeas. We're gonna rinse and drain them. And then the last thing we'll add is rice. And again, because this is a dump and go, it has to be white rice for it to work out with the timing and the liquid. Otherwise, it takes a lot longer to cook. And so I'm doing it based off of white rice. If you prefer not to, if you want to use brown rice, I would honestly suggest cooking the brown rice separately and then just having this be a dump and go casserole on its own and not adding the rice to it. Otherwise, let's do our white rice. We'll go ahead and add 1.5 cups of white rice. And then if you're doing it separately, you will not need the veggie broth. The veggie broth, that 1 cup of water for the veggie broth was for this rice. Perfect. Now we just need to mix it all together. You really want to make sure the rice is covered. We'll cover this tightly with aluminum foil, and then it will bake for about 45 minutes. You just want to make sure that rice is all cooked through. All right, the chickpea curry is done. It's been about 45 minutes. Let's just pull it out. Let's open it up. Perfect. Look at that. Oh my gosh. It looks so good. You can kind of mix it up. Yeah, it looks great. The rice cooked great. It looks so good. The last step is to fold in some spinach. Now this is just frozen spinach. I'm literally just going to crush it here and then we'll fold that in. Now you'll want to taste it, and if you feel like it needs a little more salt, like I'm going to add a little more salt and the juice of a lemon or lime. Let's add some salt. We'll mix that up so it's evenly distributed, and then garnish with cilantro. Now let's try the chickpea curry casserole. The flavors are super subtle. So for a curry, it's really not super strong, which means my kids will love it. The lime definitely adds a little bit, so make sure to keep that in there, and you can always add more salt and pepper. It's good. I just love chickpeas. What do you think of the curry? You like it?
It's yummy.
You like it? If you love this video, I know you'll absolutely love my other 2 dump and go vegan casserole videos, so make sure to check those out as well.